another session of PrimeS4 S4HANA demo series. Today's focus is on a relatively new capability SAP has introduced, automated freight order planning with requirement grouping in SAP TM. I am Bimal Shubhakumar, based out of Fort Worth, Texas, and I am accompanied by Jasmeet. She's based out of Ontario, Canada.
Hello, my name is Jasmeet Kaur Chaudhary. I am Senior SAP TM Consultant and Project Manager with PrimeS4 based out of Canada.
So a few years ago, SAP introduced a feature that enables automatic freight order creation based on configurable rules such as source location, destination location, and it also has some split criteria. So this is maintained in something called um, a requirement grouping, and this can be assigned to a planning profile. So in today's demo, we'll be seeing how we can use this to automate freight order creation. So in this demo, we will have multiple sales order with different pallets, and FUs are created with different pallet quantities. And we have put a split criteria as around 28 pallets. So then we run these freight units into this requirement grouping profile, and then we run, it creates a freight order, and it will split at 28 pallets. So that is what we are going to show. And so we'll have multiple sales orders, and FUs will be created in TM. And planning, we are showing two scenarios. One is the automatic FO creation using a batch job. That batch job is like where we can provide the planning profile and selection profiles of FUs, and we can run it and it will automatically create. So that will be one scenario, the totally automated scenario. And we can also do this via manual planning using a button in Transportation Cockpit, which is create road freight order based on groups button, right? Um, and we will do some manual carrier selection and automated charge calculation. This manual carrier selection can be also automated based on another carrier determination profile, which was our previous session. But in this session, we are just showing manual carrier selection. Then we will just do creation of delivery, pick, pack, PG, and just settlement posting, right? Just to make sure that the entire cycle is in place. The requirement grouping profile can be used to create freight bookings also and other documents also, right? Like consignment order. So we are just showcasing freight order in today's demo. Some of the business benefits, like obviously, like we can optimize the capacity utilization used through rules-driven creation, right? Grouping. And many customers, we have found that the planning and creation of freight orders is not that complex. It may be like same origin, same destination for on the same day of shipping, create 3 or 4 freight orders, and depending upon how many pallets it can fit into a truck, right? So that kind of simple scenario. And this will help automation a little more and reduces manual effort and errors. And the key piece is like there is no need of any TM lanes. We could have done the same thing through optimizer planning also, but here we don't. And if it is optimizer planning, we need lanes and other related master data. But here we don't need any lane related master data, thereby reducing the effort and maintenance of end users in maintaining the lanes and other master data. This helps a lot if provided the business requirements are simple. And it also improves cost efficiency by maximizing truck utilization. So over to you, Jasmeet, and you can showcase this in our system.
I want to start my demo by showing you first the requirement grouping profile that I have maintained. My rules for grouping profiles, for grouping the FUs onto freight orders are based on the OD pair. So like the source location, the destination location, and the earliest start date for loading. These are some of the parameters that I have used, but then they are totally changeable, and they can be used in different ways based on the business requirement. So now, what really happens is once we create the requirement grouping profile, we assign it to the planning profile, which is then assigned to our transportation cockpit. Now, the next step is to go into the transportation cockpit and check all the FUs that have the same parameters that we have considered in our requirement grouping profile. So if you see here, these are the different freight units that I have. This is my source location, which is PS03. My destination location is my customer number 16. And then my earliest pickup date is exactly the same for all the freight units. So ideally, all of my freight units should be grouped into one or more freight orders depending on the capacity. Now, if you see here, this total is way more than 28, which was my split capacity or split parameter or the capacity limit that I had maintained in my requirement grouping profile. So ideally, what I am expecting out of this is to create two freight orders, one with full capacity, and then the next will have the spilled over freight units. So the first version of how I want to show you the planning of the freight units by requirement grouping profile is by auto freight order creation via batch job. Now, this batch job is basically a program in SA38 that we maintain, and you can totally maintain or adjust the frequency of how often do you want to create these freight orders. It could be 1 hour, 2 hour, or even midnight or anything. Now I want to quickly show you SE38 screen. This is the program that we use, which is Plan Requirement Stage Group. I click on Execution. Here I give my freight unit selection profile, my planning profile, which has the requirement grouping profile assigned to it. I click on Save Results and I hit the Execute button. What's going to happen now is that all the alike freight units are going to plan onto the freight orders, which we can see by refreshing the Transportation Cockpit button. Now I have run my background job, which means when I refresh this Transportation Cockpit, my freight orders should show up. So if you see two freight orders have been created as expected, I'm just going to open one for now and then show you the subsequent steps in TM. And then we'll move on to the second version of how we can plan freight units via requirement grouping profile. So my next step, once I'm inside the freight order, is to add my carrier manually. Now this you can totally automate it by maintaining a carrier determination profile. If you're curious to know what that is, please go and check one of our other live demo video in on our website, and it is totally available for you to watch. So I am adding my carrier here. Once I do that, and I hit save, my charge calculation will be complete because I have already maintained charges in my charge management. So if we go to charges, you see the charges are already there. The next step is to create a delivery from inside the freight order. So this is done. Let's just also check in the document flow. The delivery is there. So now we are going to do pick pack PGI in our delivery in IM. So let's just add our delivery number here. I'm going to add my storage location and pick the open quantity, which here is 150. So now that I've done that, I'm going to do PGI. Let's go check our freight order statuses tab. If I refresh, my execution should say that the goods movement status is completely processed. Now, the next step is to create the freight settlement document and then post it. So the same amount has come here as well, along with the carrier details. I'm going to save this, which means it's ready for accruals. and I'm going to post it, which means service entry sheet and service PO should automatically be created in the freight and showing in the freight order document flow tab. Let's just check that. You see all of these details have come up. So ideally, the next step is to do the invoicing of the carrier's invoice, the posting of the carrier invoice, which can be done by Miro. But in the interest of time, I'm not going to show you that. What I do, however, want to show you is the next way or the second way of planning the freight units onto freight order via requirement grouping profile. And again, the same process, right? The same requirement grouping profile, which is assigned to planning profile, and then in the transportation cockpit. However, if you can't, or if you do not want to do it via batch job, then you can do it via transportation cockpit as well. So I'm in this new cockpit where I have the same parameter, same OD pair, the same earliest pickup dates. And now, if I show you in the freight unit quadrant, I have this new button called create road freight order based on groups. So I am going to click all these freight units and I'm going to click on the create road freight order based on groups button. And then as expected, my freight orders are already created in the same way that they got created in the first place. And then eventually you can follow the same process of creating delivery, adding carrier manually, creating delivery, creating FSD, posting it, and then posting the carrier invoice. I hope this demo was helpful. If you have any questions or queries, please contact us on contact@primes4.com. I hope you have a good day.